Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and today I'm going to show you a replay in this thing, the Tiger 1, but it's going to be a historical battle. So just before we get into the actual replay, if anyone's not aware, I'm going to quickly show you how to actually do historical battles. So you see up here where you have the red battle tab, hit the drop down menu. This brings up a bunch of options including historical battle. Select that. You then choose one of the historical battles up here to play in, and it shows you what vehicles you have available for a particular battle. Now I've currently got the Tiger selected, which means I would be playing the Battle of Kursk. When you do a historical battle, it will change all of the equipment on your tank for the historically accurate equipment. So the Tiger will get the short 88, for instance, gun. It will also buy you an ammo pack down here, which you can buy with either gold or more credits. Basically, it includes armor piercing, premium ammunition, high explosive. It has the historical ammunition loadout as the game defines it. This is a pre-bought package. Any ammo you do not spend, any ammo you do not use, sorry, you get reimbursed for after the battle's finished. You then hit on the battle button, and that's it. It's as easy as that. So if I just close this for a minute, you'll see that in historical loadout, this is my Tiger, top turret, the 88mm gun. I could show you different vehicles for historical mode, but the game's going to be in this, so I'm going to play in this. Okay, so hopefully now you're all aware of how to play historical battles if you choose to do so. So here's the game I wanted to show you. This is the first ever battle I got into in historical battles, and you can see that I'm in the Tiger, as in the Tiger H, Tiger 1, Henschel Tiger, call it what you will. I'm at doing the Battle of Kursk, which is here on Prokhorovka, and I'll be honest, I'm going to use this battle for as an opportunity to have a little bit of a rant. I'm showing you this one just because it's the first historical battle I ever played. I've played better since, but I haven't actually played many historical games, which we'll get onto. So you can see I have the historical loadout here. I've got the short 88mm gun, and I've got the top turret, etc. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to put this video up is because at the moment the queue times for historical battles are ridiculous. I get into the queue and there's 2 other people there, and I just wait 5 minutes until I'm timed out. It's almost impossible to play historical battles at the moment, which is really sad because I think they're fantastic. I think they're an amazing idea. They're very exciting, and I wish people just took to them with more enthusiasm, and I really don't understand why they haven't. So that's why I also had the thing at the beginning of the video, just pointing out how to get into them so that you guys can play historical battles, or at least can get into the queue for it. And the more people we have trying to get into the queue, the larger the number of people waiting for a historical battle will be, and the better the chance that we're going to get a decent game is going to be. Yeah, so I really want people to try and play historical battles because I think they're fantastic. So shot on a KV-1S, and you might notice that the KV-1S in historical battle mode does not get the 122mm death cannon. And this is going to be a bit of a common feature. They don't get the weapons that they didn't have historically. Ugh. Which is why I have the short 88mm gun, which if truth told is not an amazing gun, but ow, S285 just shot me. But it's the gun I've got access to. Now, if you go onto the forums for this game, oh, that one hurt. Or just if you play the game, you'll be aware that people tend to complain about certain aspects of it. And the sort of things people tend to complain about are A, artillery, and how unfair it is that artillery just killed them from all the way over there. B, premium ammunition. They're driving their mouse, or insert super heavily armoured tank here, or whatever. And someone just loads premium ammunition and shoots through their armour. And they don't like this. And that's kind of understandable. 3, overpowered tanks, or tanks that they perceive to be overpowered. I'm not going to comment on whether they actually are or not, but certainly tanks they think are overpowered. So let's go to historical battles, and why is all this relevant? Very simple. One, there is not currently, ouch, there is not currently a single historical battle in which artillery plays a part. No arty. At all. At the moment. And even if they did introduce a historical battle that used artillery, as long as there are some that don't, you can just play the ones that don't. Point the first. Point the second, premium ammunition. You get fixed ammo loadouts for your tank. And that means that you can't just spam premium ammunition everywhere. Look at the loadout I've got. I have 2 premium ammunition shells. Now, when you're playing the Tiger on the Battle of Kursk, you are at the top of the food chain. You don't really need premium ammunition to penetrate any of your targets. Okay, you're only using the short 88, but that's perfectly sufficient for the sort of targets that you have got to shoot at. But let's say you're driving a T-34, the Russian medium tank. You get the basically stock 76mm gun, and you get a limited amount of premium ammunition. And even with the premium ammunition, that gets 102mm of average penetration. The Tiger has 100mm of frontal armour. You're going to struggle even using that. But anyway, point is, you can't just spam premium ammunition everywhere. 3. Overpowered tanks. Well, let's consider the sort of tiers we're looking at and what tanks are in there. Often in historical battles, you tend to find that the tanks involved are hovering in the sort of tier 3 to 8 range. And you can see here, for instance, there's a lot of tier 5s and tier 6s. So let's just think about so-called overpowered tanks in that sort of bracket. 1. Hellcat. Hellcat gets a 90mm gun on a super mobile platform. It just outclasses the Jackson, which is the other tier 6 American tank destroyer, its counterpart. Historically, the Hellcat never had the 90mm gun, it had a 76mm gun. And the reason that that distinguished it as a tank destroyer in terms of firepower was that the Sherman never had the 76mm gun, or certainly not until a lot later. It had a 75mm gun, the stock gun that you get on the Sherman in the game. And so, in the Battle of the Bulge, where you're playing the Americans, if you go into your Hellcat, you have a 76mm gun, not the 90mm gun. Someone was firing armor piercing. The Jackson, however, does get a 90mm gun, but that was never as mobile anyway. That was slightly more about the armour, although the armour on it isn't exactly fantastic. So okay, premium ammunition, that was probably a heat shell. The Su-152 gets a single heat shell per battle. Premium ammunition isn't really an issue, therefore. Not in the same way. Sorry, I've stopped, I've moved on from premium ammunition, I'm talking about overpowered tanks. So sorry, the Hellcat isn't really overpowered, it doesn't have the 90mm gun. KV-1S doesn't have the 122mm gun. Same arguments apply. The ISU-152 in the historical battle is actually the ISU-122. And so it gets a 122mm gun, not the 152mm BL-10 death cannon. So you get tanks that are not overpowered, frankly. And so, I don't understand why people don't play historical battles more. It gives you an opportunity in some tanks to grind them without having to properly grind them. They give you the Tiger, for example. It is much nicer playing the Tiger in a historical battle with the historical setup, so the short 88 gun, among other things, than it is trying to play the Tiger with the stock, well, with either the 75mm or the 88mm guns, normally, in just random battles. And so you could use it for grinding purposes. You could make similar comments about the ISU-152 and some others. And so I don't really get why people aren't playing historical battles more. I mean, to the point where there's literally 3 people in the queue when you go and try and play one. And I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know. They're in the next patch. They're removing, I can't remember which one, but they're removing at least one of the historical battles at the moment. And they're introducing the Battle of Tobruk, which is basically Brits versus Germans. Oh, we lose by cap. Great. It's basically the Brits versus the Germans, and that's got a lower tier emphasis. So one thing you do have to say with historical battles is taking a T-34 against a Tiger is horrific, as it should be. The Tiger, you know, on a one-on-one fight, was just massively superior to the T-34. And you see that in historical battles, so maybe it's that people aren't playing the lower tier tanks, but even then, the matchmaker should be able to make teams, but it's just people aren't playing it at all. You know, I turned up to one battle, I sat in the queue in my ISU 152, and there were a total of 3 people in the queue, including me, all tiered in Russian tank destroyers. It was like, oh, what's the point then? And I must admit, that's one thing I have noticed. You get a lot of Russian tank destroyers if the team can include tank destroyers, because that's the top tier Russian tank. But, you know, there we go. So I would encourage you guys to try and play historical battles. I think they're brilliant. I really enjoy them when I get to play them. I've only played a half dozen of them because I just can't get into games with them. Anyway, rant over, swear to God. I hope you guys found that game vaguely interesting, possibly learnt something from my ranting. And I hope you kind of enjoyed the first game I have shown you from my Tiger, which I haven't had for that long. So I will sign off by saying I wish you guys happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.